Everybody, welcome to another episode of Screen Peeking, a weekly podcast where Ziggy and I get together to talk about video games and everything to do with video games. Today, we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff from PlayStation UI to Xbox and what they're doing this coming, 4 weeks from now. We're going to be talking about like what they're doing there with the
soon.
launch and like the strategy and a little bit of Cyberpunk 2077, talking about the Night City Wire that just happened and more. So to start off, as always, Ziggy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I've had a good couple of days. Some nice R&R. It's been nice. Yeah, just kind of being able to chill out a bit more in the last few days, play some games, do some art, catch up on some art. I haven't done that in a while, but yeah, it's nice. Been in a good mood.
Good. That's good. We need a lot of positivity this year.
Yeah, no kidding.
I've been doing good too. I had our washer and dryer breakdown, like I was just telling you before we started this, but that could be a huge negative, but luckily I've been able to afford to replace that, and that's a good situation to be in. So even though it's a sucky situation, it's not as bad as it could be. Other than that, though, I've just been playing a lot of Genshin Impact and some
Still
of our
addicted?
Observer. Yeah, a little bit. I've definitely dialed it back. It's usually my lunch break, 20 minutes or so. Just do like a couple daily challenges, and then maybe in the early morning I'll do a little bit more than that if I'm like off that day. But and then this morning went through a ton of Halo ODST campaign on Legendary.
How's that? Does it hold up?
It totally holds up. I think Halo 3 was my favorite before. Like for the longest time. And my brother's favorite is Halo Reach, and I definitely understand why. But I think ODST is my favorite now. Like going through that
Really?
one, something about not being a super soldier, just being you're the regular dude, the somber music, you're going through like the city of Mombasa, and it's just like it's so sad feeling. You're like, oh, I feel the weight of like my mission right now. I'm trying to figure out what happened to my squad, and like, oh, I just love it so much. But enough about that. We're going to talk about Observer, our game club game that we were given to each other, I guess, last week. Our homework game. And I played just over an hour of it. Just that's how much time I wanted to spend on it. And how much time did you spend on it?
A little over 2 hours, I think.
Oh, good.
I don't totally know. I definitely put a decent chunk of time into it. Up until the point where the game really sort of like opened up, I guess, and there's just like a lot of stuff to do, and I was like, all right, that's a good stopping point for today. I honestly like I was pretty busy up until like 3 days ago, and then I just kind of forgotten about it, unfortunately, until this morning when it's like, oh shoot, yeah, I gotta bust that out. So I played like a few hours before recording. But I'm really enjoying it so far. Like the just the mood and atmosphere of it is something that might just be my personal taste. I love it. Like it definitely feels reminiscent of Alien or something like that, and the very like it's high tech, but it still feels sort of like retro and grounded. Like they all have those really like all the electronics, have that nice like clicky sort of I don't know how to describe it, but very like retro futuristic, I guess. But yeah, it's cool. It's pretty much just like has this really, really neat sort of sci-fi thriller story going on, and then you play as the onboard AI in the space station as you're helping your crew sort of like figure out what's going on and all that. But it's the way it tells a story through that, I think, is interesting because you are definitely just kind of watching stuff happen for a lot. Hence the name Observer or Observation. But yeah, no, I thought it was cool. The gameplay was, I don't know. It was really effective for what it wanted to do storytelling wise, but I found it eventually got a bit just like, I mean, it quite literally is just like kind of crossing stuff off a list to do. Like it felt a little bit like doing chores, which I think, I don't know how long the game is. I do intend on keeping playing it. I want to try to finish it. But if it's any longer than like 5 or 6 hours, I think I might kind of struggle to finish it because I feel like that gameplay is going to get really, really old pretty fast.
I agree.
Just because it's very slow and methodical, which I actually really like. for what it does to the atmosphere, but I could see it like dragging on if it's an overly long game. But like the story is super interesting. I'm not sure how far you got, but like when it starts to tie in all these weird sort of like eldritch alien shit to it, like it gets weird, but it gets really, really good.
Ooh, I was already interested before, but you got me even more excited to
Yeah.
continue.
So yeah, you talk about it, and then I want to ask you how far you got to it if we want
Yeah.
to get into
So, I'm kind of a moron, so it took me a lot longer to get through the prologue than I thought it would, or than I think it should have. Now that I like think back to it, but I played basically up till the credits rolled, or like the for the after the beginning part, and then I played like a couple minutes after, but I don't really remember what I did. I was actually like, dude, it was like 8 at night, not not late at all, and I was starting to drift. I was starting to do the head bob, and so I kind of forget a little bit of the last couple minutes. But I basically played the prologue, essentially, just the beginning part where you're doing the you're just opening the doors, learning how the controls work, and getting the fire put out and all that stuff. And then it's just like, oh, how did she end up by the planet there? And then don't really know. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I totally want to play more of this. But that night I was like, I can't keep going, because the thing that made me stop playing it that night, because I was interested in the story and I wanted to keep going just to like know more, was how slow that camera moves when you're looking through the cameras.
I like it, honestly.
I get it, but I also even just like 50% faster, 20% faster, I don't know. Like it doesn't have to be fast. I'm not asking for like a quick mouse turn response kind of thing, but I don't know. For me, like I would just sit there and like, okay, let's look over on this side of the screen, and it goes, you're over there. You spend like 5 seconds panning from left to the far right, and then you get to the far right of the screen and you go, ah, damn, there's nothing here. Well, time to go back and see if I missed anything in the original left side. They go all the way back over again. Well, maybe this is a bad angle. So then you swap the camera. Okay, now I'm on a different angle. Let's check up. Okay. Nope, nothing here. Time to look back down. Anyways, if that sounded boring, that was the only thing that like that's actually how fast it goes, it feels like. So I don't know, that was the only negative I had for this game, was that that was too slow for me to keep me going. Do I want to do this for hours? I don't know. Like the things I liked a lot was seeing the main character there. She's like going around through the ship, and I loved being able to swap the cameras to different angles and just being able to see like, oh, she's coming around here, and she's actually doing this in real time and not just waiting for you to like, unless there's a doorway, she's not really waiting for you to do stuff. And I thought that was cool, and I was excited to see how they kind of use that more, hopefully moving forward. But that's kind of all I got. Just learned how to hack into the different doors, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I just kind of did the first few things and was like, I can see what they're doing with this game, and it's interesting, and I want to know more. I'm totally gonna play it at some point, but yeah, right now with my limited time, I was like, I have other games I'd rather play. That's gonna be the case, I think, for a lot of these that we do, to be honest.
I think for me, the thing, because I really like, or I can really like those like more detective style games where it does move pretty slow. It's a lot of just sort of like looking around for stuff that might be important, which is kind of what that game felt like. But instead of like piecing stuff together, it was a lot of just like, like what's the right thing I need to look at, and then it pops up and you're like, okay, and then you like connect with it and then do and like open a door or something. And it is definitely like, that's why I said it felt a little bit more like chores. But if it was a little bit more like investigative, I guess, I think that would be a lot more fun for me. So if you're instead of just like opening up doors and fixing things as you go around, which honestly it could turn into that. I don't think I'm far enough, because at the point where I'm at in the story, the ship is still in total disrepair, so it's just kind of like getting everything working. And then maybe it does become more of a detective thing. And I think if it does become that, I could see myself enjoying it a lot more. But yeah, it just I do agree, it feels really slow, and luckily, I think it throws enough story at you constantly that I didn't really get bored with it. But I definitely can't fault you for getting bored. That's definitely valid. Like I almost have similar thoughts on it as I do like the gameplay in Death Stranding, which is a game that I really liked.
Right.
Where it is slow and it is kind of boring at times, but I think it's just effective enough for like the tone that it's trying to accomplish that it helps some things, but is also at the end of the day still kind of boring, so it's hard to totally defend it.
Well, I gotta defend myself here for a second. I didn't find it boring. I did find it was like reading a book where
Mm-hmm.
for me it was just getting to that point in the evening where obviously I get up at four
Oh
in the
yeah.
morning, so 8 o'clock was starting to get later even though it's not late,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like just sitting there, and then the camera moving slow, I just started to do like the eyes start to droop and
Oh
like,
yeah, I know what you
oh
mean.
man, like I
Yeah.
want to know what's gonna happen. Like I was engaged, I was interested, but it's like when you're reading a book and you're like, I don't know if I can go 3 more pages right now. Like that, it
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
that kind of feeling.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. It
What
just was
else?
like, oh no,
It's
I
okay.
wasn't
Yeah.
bored, but
Okay. Yeah.
I
But it's
couldn't
one of those
engage.
things. Yeah, I could definitely. I don't know if I would. If this is the kind of game I'd recommend to like anybody.
Yeah,
Like I
no.
think it. I really am enjoying it, but I think it definitely does take some degree of patience to really get into it and to
Hmm.
kind of like immerse yourself in it and role play a bit too. Like I found myself really trying to like to put myself in the shoes of this AI, I guess, like role playing a little bit where,
Hmm.
stuff would pop up like messages coming through and I was trying to, I don't know. And I think that made it more fun. And I think if you're
It
willing to do
does.
that and really kind of engage in the tone it's going for, I think you could really, really enjoy it. But yeah, if you're looking for something action packed, it definitely is not this.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to Jesse, but
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly.
I don't think he would be interested in it. It's not. He likes the fast action, the Destiny, the Call of Duty. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, you're right. It needs a certain kind of person. But I'm excited. I'm totally gonna play through it at some point. Um,
Hmm.
I am the kind of person to usually finish a game once I start it, but sometimes it takes a
Hmm.
little while before I get back to playing it. Um, but
What else have you been playing this week?
oh, just the Genshin Impact and the
Just more
Halo.
Genshin Impact.
I really
Nice,
want to
nice.
like. I'd love to get all the achievements in Halo Master Chief Collection, but I'm not. I'm not someone who would actually hunt all that down. I'm the kind of person who
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, I'm actually really close to getting this one. Okay, I'll knock that off." And that's the
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
person I am. So,
Yeah.
but
That makes
really,
sense.
we have five. I think. I think 5 episodes from now, if I remember right, it's 4 or 5, and if everything goes smoothly, we'll be talking about the PlayStation 5, and I'll ideally have it in my
Yeah.
place, which is kind of exciting to think that it's like,
Yeah. No kidding.
yeah, like I'm so excited. I just hope it arrives on time.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. No, I'm so excited for next gen. For me, I did it. I threatened last week. I said I might start playing the original Final Fantasy VII. I did it.
Oh,
I installed it. I'm 4 or 5 hours in or something, and it's cool. It's really interesting going from like the having not played the original and going from the remake to the original, just because like a lot of the characters are written so differently from one to the other. Like Barrett in the original, I'm playing, I'm like, oh, I don't really like him. Like he kind of sucks. Like, he's just kind of like mean in the original, and I start to see why a lot of people said they didn't really like him at first. Um, Also like the pacing of it, because the remake takes like a 5 or 6 hour section from the original and then turns that into like a 40-hour RPG. So there's sections in the original that you just like breeze through, you just move through an area and then it's over. Whereas in the remake, that's like a 5-10 hour section where you're doing all these side quests and meeting all these characters and having all these cutscenes and stuff.
right.
But I don't know, it's interesting. Like it's the battle system I'm not super fond of, to be honest. It just isn't really my thing, but I've definitely stated that before. But I just in the version I'm playing on Xbox, you can just like speed up battles and just kind of breeze through all the random encounters and stuff, which has helped a lot for me, just kind of breezing through all the stuff I'm not a fan of, and then just going right into the dialogue and stuff, which I do really enjoy. But yeah, I'm liking it. I definitely want to like keep trying to play more Final Fantasies because I'm getting more and more into it. But I want to see if I can finish this one. I don't know if I will, but I'll see how I'll see how far I can get.
I hear it's long.
It is, yeah. That's the thing. If it's like an over 100-hour RPG, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can suffer through that much. I barely made it through Persona 5, and I loved that game and like the combat system and all that. So
Hmm.
we'll see. But I am enjoying it so far.
Yeah, it's one of those ones for me that I go, yeah, that'd be cool to play, but I know I never will. I'll never download it. I'll never play it. I'll never have the time or make the time for it. But that's awesome. That's good that you're enjoying it and that you're like finding the things that are similar or different and kind of having that comparison is kind of neat.
Yeah, yeah. And the story in the remake kind of goes off the rails too from the original. So, like that's why I really want to play this, is to just see or to have a point of reference, I guess, for what it's actually doing.
Yeah.
Like, with the big, like, kind of bold decisions it's going for. Like, I don't want to just, like, go along for the ride of that. I want to have, like, something that I can base it off of with the original and, like, get the references and stuff.
Totally. Yeah, you could just play wherever the remake. I guess you said the story changes, but I don't know if like you could play up to where the remake got to approximately on the original, and then just kind of wait for the next one to come out for the remake 2 or whatever, and then you just play the next part on the original.
Gosh, yeah. I have no idea how many parts the remake is gonna be, because like the original is a long game, and the Midgar portion, like, that the remake is based off of, is literally like maybe 5 hours. So if like, is this going to be like a 20-part series? Because like, if it keeps going at this pace, it genuinely will be. I don't know. Like, I assume the pace will pick up from here on out, because I don't think it will be like a 20-part thing. But I'm interested to see, or if this story just goes completely off the rails, has nothing to do with the rest of the traditional Final Fantasy VII story.
Yeah, you got to think, like, how long does development take once you've created the engine, you've created the models for maybe all the main characters, and and you have a battle system, set up. How long does it take to do the voiceovers and the all the all the extra work for textures and new terrain and models and all that stuff? But like, if you want to do just an episode of a certain bit of content, like, how long does that take to create? Because yeah, like, you could think maybe every 2 years, maybe, or less.
Yeah,
they could have
like that. I could definitely see Remake 2 coming out 2022. I wouldn't be super surprised by that. So I'm pretty sure it's different teams working on Remake Part 2 and Final Fantasy 16 as well. So, and I think from what I've been hearing, 16 is looking at somewhere around 2021. So I could definitely see it. Like, 16 comes out next year, and then Remake 2 comes out in 2022.
Right.
And then I don't know where to go from there. But yeah,
I'm
excited either way. Both those games, I'm very, very hyped for it.
I don't think they would, but like, they could do a Call of Duty, have 3 different teams working on it, have a game come out every year.
Oh gosh, yeah. I feel like there's already kind of enough Final Fantasy fatigue. I don't know if that's smart. Yeah, I feel like fans already kind of wishing they would slow down a bit.
Well, 16 is going to be the one that I actually finally play and spend some time on. But yeah, let's go on to the next topic here, which is the PlayStation UI. You said you haven't seen the video for it, which is fair. That's fine. But what I wanted to bring up on it was, so they had the little video that came out on YouTube. It was like, I don't know, 15 minutes approximately. And in the video, they were kind of just showing like what the user experience would be when you boot up the system. They started it out kind of booting it up from sleep mode. And so it kind of just goes right into, you can imagine the PlayStation 4, what the UI looked like at the main home screen. It was kind of like that, except you have these cards, the long vertical rectangles, across your screen, and your game is playing in the background. And each of these cards are apparently customizable to what you want to have on them. And I think what they had was like a way to create a party, or to one of them was also like a challenge list, so you could see this one challenge maybe that you were tracking, and it would have the objectives in it, and you could see how long it's supposed to take you, which I don't really trust whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, oh, less than 10 minutes, okay. Based on what?
We'll see.
But a lot of stuff that a developer would have to add in, which I don't see a lot of third parties doing. It's cool though. It's like, hey, features are features, might as well put them in there. The things that I thought were really cool though was they were showing how you could, I won't be using this, but you could look up a hint, right, for an area or for that specific challenge, and then you could see a little video play in the corner or on the side of your screen. You could put that video as an overlay over top of your game screen. You can put up in the corner, or like any of your corners, or like in the center top, center bottom, center left and right, and kind of like playing on the side, so you can kind of follow if you were someone who needed some help with the area or trying to figure out how someone did an objective. And I don't know, I think that's really cool. I think that's a neat thing that you can do. They have it so you can put it as an overlay, the little video, or you can do it as like a picture-in-picture kind of thing where it pushes your game window to the side and has like a vertical black strip with the video kind of playing in the middle.
It's like the what's that feature that they used to have on Xbox One? The snapping?
Yeah, did they get rid of that?
Yeah,
because I remember that.
Yeah, they did, because it massively slowed down your console. Like it was a really poorly optimized feature. But yeah,
I remember that. Yeah,
that's interesting.
But yeah, so like
bring that back. Yeah.
So they have this for like hints, right? But then it also works the exact same way. If I was playing on PlayStation 5, you were playing on PlayStation 5, we were in a party together, and I wanted to share my screen. You could choose to view the screen, and you could display it the same way, in the corners and all around, or picture-in-picture mode. And I think that's really cool. And I know there was a similar thing to that for PlayStation 4, but this. I believe this will actually work on such a powerful system, right? And I thought that was neat. One of the things I thought was weird though is that they didn't really show like trophies on there, because I was thinking that they would show like a card for a trophy and showing like, oh well, what about your progress on that trophy? I'm hoping it works the same way as these weird challenge things that I don't understand. Like, what do you get for a challenge? Like, what's the point? Is that challenge thing the same as a trophy? I don't really get that. Sure. I don't think it is, but hopefully the trophies get treated the same way, and you can see your percentage, your progress, because they don't have that on PS4, I don't believe. If they do,
that's definitely a nice
not
feature.
When I last looked.
If you're actually trying to like really hunt down a plat, it would be frustrating trying to go through that and have no point of reference. Like, I think you were mentioning before the show that, like, the way you do achievements or trophies is that it's just like, oh, I'm close to finishing this one, and then you do it. But when you have, like, absolutely no frame of reference, you're like, okay, I gotta get 50 of these. I don't know how many I have, but I guess I should just start hunting and see if I can get some. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's what I do like to do, is just, you never know. Like, what if you have to kill 1,500 of this one enemy, but now you're not killing those ones for some reason? And then you're like, I was only 4 away. I might as well just finish that off. I like to know that. But yeah, this card system is kind of neat. I like how it looks. It's just like press the PlayStation button, little overlay pops up, and it just like goes over your game, and you can just still see your game in the background. I like that a lot. So you don't have to go like warp back to your home screen where you don't know what's going on in your game. I don't know. I thought that was all cool. They had a card also for joining someone else's multiplayer game. I think they were using
That's nice.
One of the new games. I can't remember what it's called. It's like the one where you're running around and there's cars and people.
No,
it looked like about. I don't know. It was like Destruction Derby or something. But
Destruction All Stars, I think.
Okay, I think that sounds familiar. But yeah, they joined the person's game, and it joined pretty darn quick, so that's good. I mean, not a surprise, but still good to see. And I thought it was neat that they showed it waking from sleep mode instead of from like a fully off state, because my assumption would be to normally see it from the fully turned off mode. So I was happy to see like how quick it is when you go from sleep mode to fully on and back into your game, because that was super quick, super slick, and that's what I'll be doing, is having my system in sleep mode all the time. So it's just good to see that.
No, and the nice thing too is, even if it's not in sleep mode, like with these SSDs, it'll boot up just super fast.
Totally.
So yeah, like, because I know, like, especially with my Xbox One, you turn that thing on, it's like minutes before you can actually play a game, which gets frustrating. But yeah, next gen, like I never really take any of my consoles off sleep mode or rest mode or whatever. I just always just keep them in that sleep state. But I might, like, actually, when I go to bed, fully turn it off or something now that it won't take a million years to boot up. But yeah, like what you're saying, I like that card system a lot. I feel like customization options is always good, pretty much like in anything. And yeah, I like that you can really just choose what you want there, because there's when I like I don't know what you call it, but when you press the PlayStation button, the little like in-game menu pops up, or not in-game, like the little thing on the side pops up. It's just so cluttered and there's so much stuff there, and I only really want maybe 5 or 6 of the things in that menu like right on hand. And so yeah, if it can't just be I can choose, okay, here's the things I want and they're right there and they're accessible, I would way prefer that over like, oh, I feel like my party felt like I want to change my party and game mixing, so you have to go like go into settings, audio, and do that, and then go back instead of just having
Yeah.
that be like an option at the bottom where I can instantly go and change it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like that feature a lot.
Yeah, hopefully the it's really customizable and not just some basic like here are the presets. You can do parties, you can join a game, you can see a trophy or a challenge. That's it. Choose which ones you want on there.
Yeah.
I hope there's more to it. Like I don't think this will be a thing, but I would love for them to have a leaderboard for trophies. Just like on Xbox, we were talking about it last week.
Yeah,
but
me
like
too.
I would love imagine one little vertical card and it just shows the game you're playing and it shows the leaderboard. So like maybe who has the most trophies in that game, right? And or of silver, gold, and bronze and whatever. So I don't know, something like that would be really neat. I'd love to have that because then I could go, oh sweet, like I'm way further along in Demon Souls.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like Xbox definitely like I really like the way they do it game by game where I can look in Rocket League per se and then it has leaderboards where it'll track like, oh, you've scored like 2,000 goals, and I can look and say, oh, but my friend only scored like 1,500, and then hold that over him, or just
exactly.
stuff like that, or like, oh, like you have this many hours, but I already have more wins than you, so like, what are you doing? Come on, you suck. Like just those little bits of like competition, like game by game, I think are fun, and yeah, like you said, I hope PlayStation implements that, and I don't think it's at like. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I would imagine because they're already working on revamping trophies, and so I wouldn't be like super shocked if that was a feature they add.
Yeah, they can add whatever they want after it launches too. So like I'll just keep saying that that's something I would love to see and hope that they add it in the future. One of the other parts that they showed was the capture with the share button and how you can take photos and videos like usual. They did confirm that you can take photos and videos up to 4K, which is nice. I'm happy about that because on PS4 I think it was just 1080p for at least for video. So I'm happy about that. I would love to be able to just if you and me were in a party or we had it's kind of like Discord or whatever where you have like your little party groups now where it's like I could have one for me and you, I could have one for me, you, and Jesse, I could have one for
that's
like,
kind of nice
and that kind of thing. I think a lot of people aren't liking that, but it sounds fine to me. So if we have that though, then I could take a picture or take a little video clip and then send it to our group right there and through our thing, which is kind of neat. Be like, oh, check this thing out I just did, and or throw it up on Twitter or whatever. So I like the fact that those videos I share or those photos I share could be 4K if I choose. I prefer that myself.
Yeah, I honestly, as far as like parties go, and I'm not even really sure why this isn't a thing yet. I feel like it should be, but I just really want Discord on consoles. Like in the age, like we're really entering the age of crossplay now. And it's always such a weird thing when I'm wanting to play, I don't know, like Rocket League with me and my friend, where luckily I can have like the Xbox app open on my PC and we can just go through Xbox parties that way. But if I was on PlayStation per se, and like then we'd have to do that weird thing where like I have to have the game volume coming through the TV and then have like a headphone in with Discord on my phone so that we can talk when play properly. And it's always just weird and janky to try to have like voice chat across platforms. And really just having a Discord app on consoles would solve like all of that. And because you just have that one unified platform that kind of already exists. I really wish that would happen, honestly. And I don't know if that's just like maybe not as feasible as I think it is, or if there's something on the consoles that's blocking that. But that would just really make I feel like our lives a lot easier.
Yeah, like I know what you're saying. I think that would be great. I don't think that'll ever happen just because it is their like another part of their business. Nintendo's even doing their online business now, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna have a service, you want to have as many features as possible, and if the party chat is one of the things, and you want to have control over it and how it's updated, how it changes, because soon as there's an issue and it's on your platform, like you're the one getting called out for it, and if you can't even fix it yourself, then I don't know, like like, can you imagine if there was some issue with party chats on PlayStation and everyone's like upset about it, like all the millions of people who have this console, and they're all like, what the heck is going on right now? And PlayStation goes, well, we can't fix it. It's a Discord thing, you know? Like that,
yeah.
or
Or
that,
I
yeah.
mean, like, they could still have their party chats, but just if there was like a Discord app on these consoles, like say maybe there's a Netflix app or a Skype app.
I think it just takes away value from their online service.
Yeah,
like that.
I think it does.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the consoles are just blocking something like that.
But I do think that Xbox is doing something similar now. I think they will get to the point where they have a Discord equivalent going on, because right now we can party chat with a console on PC. Like I do it with Jesse all the time. Like I'll be playing.
Same, I do with one of my friends.
Yeah, exactly. And like it's not the best. It doesn't work perfectly, but
I've had no issues with it. It works pretty seseamless for me.
It's worked.
Yeah.
I was just saying that because I have had a couple issues, but it has worked like 90% of the time. It's been fine, and I think like half of the times it didn't work, it was user error. So maybe that's more of a. It should be more obvious how to fix the thing if it's not working. I know computers, and I still had a tough time. But yeah, that. One last thing for the PlayStation UI, however, or for that whole video thing that they did, they showed that there is still the edit button, but they didn't show what it does. So
there's the like create button that is called, right?
Well, so no, so yeah, you have your create button or whatever it is on your PlayStation controller, the capture or the share button. That's what it is. You press it. You can choose to take a photo or keep a recording of the last however many minutes of your video. And then there's an edit where you can edit your photo, right? On PlayStation 4, you could trim your videos too. So I'm assuming that's in there. But like thinking about what they should or what they could have for their editing options, I'm just wondering like what would you want to see in that? Because they didn't show it. So what would you want to see in like a photo editor or a video editor on the system?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't want anything too complicated for like a console side editing thing, because you're doing it with the controller. Like if it is really, I feel like anything more than just like basic filters maybe and like, yeah, like trimming or cropping or whatever, I think it would just get clunky. The thing for me I want is just a really easy way to export those like screenshots or videos or whatever, because I know like on Switch, I haven't really tried doing it on PlayStation, but on Switch, like the only way to get my screenshots on my phone is I have to like post it on Twitter and then save the photo from Twitter and then delete the post, and which is a weird janky way of doing it. But if there's just like, I don't even know totally how it would work, but just some easy way to upload it to the cloud and then you could access that just from your phone or computer. Because with Xbox you can kind of do that, where through the Xbox app you can download your clips. I don't know if that works on PlayStation or not, but even with Xbox is janky and doesn't always work properly. But yeah, for me, that's like the number one tool that I want, is just being able to get it in my hands easier, because then I can bring it into Photoshop or whatever I want to properly edit it in a tool that is easier to use than like a controller. But I do think having those editing tools is good. Like I think having like some sort of cropping and maybe filter tools would be good for screenshots, and yeah, like changing the length of the video and all that would be nice. Maybe like, I don't know if there's a way to adjust like the mixing between like your voice and party chat and the like the game clip itself. That'd be cool.
Ooh, yeah, that would be a really good one. Didn't think of that. I think I would like that, and I would also like at least in the video, like I don't really care too much like for the photos. Just whatever, if I take a picture and that's how it is, fine. It'd be nice to have a slider for like color, contrast, a couple other things like that. I would like to have that option, so you can make almost any photo black and white, let's say, if you wanted to. I guess that would be filters as well, but definitely a crop would be good. But for video, I would want to have still the trimming options. I agree with you on exporting. I agree with you on being able to change the audio levels for your mic or the in-game audio. But I would also like to see... Oh, crap, I'm blanking. I had it in my head and then I lost it. It's out there somewhere. Hold on. So if I'm taking a video, I finish it, I'm ready to send it off, I trimmed it up. What was it that I wanted to see? Well, it's gone. I don't know. I have no idea. So it must not be that important. Um, I hate that. I hate that so much.
It's
Well,
completely blanked.
while I think about this,
Yeah. If you remember, bring it up.
I will. But yeah, let's just move on to the next thing. So the next topic here is going to be the Night City Wire episode 4 for Cyberpunk 2077. That was just yesterday morning, I believe. And their focus for this episode was style and your different vehicles, like the different classes of vehicle you would have. So I kind of wrote them down so I didn't have to remember all these names. But for the styles, there was how do I say that? I want to say Kish. That's how I want to say it.
I think it's Kitsch.
Kitsch?
Yeah.
So there's Kitsch then, which is kind of the your typical like street person who's gonna have like the neon tattoos. They're gonna have the they're focusing on more like their style. Oh wait, I have a photo. I had it to pull up. 1 second here. There we go. Let's just do that. That's good enough. So we have Kitsch.
So wait, okay. First, when you say styles, are you talking about like
good point.
Like fashion wise, or
Yes.
like a certain gameplay style? Okay.
Just fashion. Just
okay. Cool.
Pretty much every person in the game is going to be grouped into one of these 4.
Okay.
Basically, so when you see them, you're going to know they're focused on, this one here, Kitsch, is going to be focused on like just looking cool. They're focused more on the way they look more than how it functions, apparently. Apparently you can get like, I mean, this is just going to be, you could do a mixture of this for your own character, but I just thought it was really cool seeing their styles and seeing they showed a bunch of in-game like characters and showing like here, this one's all focused on style over functionality, whereas the Entropism is going to be focused on functionality over style, right? They are apparently all the kinds of people who are just like trying to get by. They're doing what they can to build the parts for their own legs and arms and doing the things that they need to do, and they don't really care how they look. They just need to get it done kind of attitude, right? Then you have the neo-militarism style, which is all going to be very much, in my opinion, what a corpo or like kind of the high-end corporate folks
like
will
class.
Yeah, they'll be wearing all these like nice dress suit and like high-end attire clothing, or pro like military kind of clothing, right? So I don't know, that's going to be interesting to see that, and they're definitely focused on just like being cool in my opinion, like simple but clean. Then you have the neo-kitsch.
These pictures you brought up, it's like this whole game just kind of oozes style, but it's cool that they're focusing that much on style and like the fashion of the individual characters and stuff like that, and how that ties to their personality. Like, it's an interesting way where when you see an NPC on the street, and then just from their like attire, you can kind of know how they'll react to certain things and stuff like that. It'd be cool, yeah. And
then like basically the kitsch or neo-kitsch is like the last one, which is just like, I don't know. To me, it just seems a lot like the kitsch one. It's just with more fur, at least in the photo here. So
more expensive.
Exactly. So I don't know. I just wanted to share, like, I thought it was cool to see all those different styles, different ways that they were all the citizens are going to be like kind of dressed and looking. Then they also showed, and I don't have a photo for this, which is good, I guess. The other thing that they had up was vehicles. They're focusing on the different kinds of vehicles you can drive. I'm not a car guy at all, but it was neat to see the different vehicles, and man, some of them looked just great. There's there's 5 different classes of vehicle. There's economy, executive, heavy duty, sport, and hypercar. And I won't go over all of them, but the economy one is like your junker, your typical like piece of crap that you got for free, or you bought for $500 that you're like, I don't care what happens to this thing. It's just gonna get me to where I need to go, hopefully. And that's it. So the one thing I wanted to highlight was this clip that they showed of this one. It looked almost like slightly bigger than a smart car, right? And just like a total little junk, looks like it was just welded together by some scrap. and the character and your character's like driving it up some stairs and just like moving around in the middle of like the sidewalk and stuff with this thing. And it looked like chaos and like a lot of fun, like totally something any gamer would be doing when they're playing this game. And they're going to go, oh, what if I drive off the road and I go up here on these stairs, or I'd run over this person on the side of the road. It was just fun to watch. But definitely my type of vehicle will be the sport car for sure. And I know that's so like, oh, of course, but man, it's like the car that they have on the front on their posters and on their like advertisements and stuff. They showed so many of them, and every single one looked cool. Whereas every other class, like heavy duty or hypercar, which hypercars still look cool, but there was a few of every one of those that I did not care about. Whereas when it showed the sport car, every single style that they showed of that one, I was like, I would be happy to have just one of those. So.
I like the originality in the car designs too. Like a lot of open world games, like you look at Watch Dogs or GTA or something, it has just sort of like no name versions of existing cars. So you'll have like a Prius without a Prius tag, or like a Lamborghini without any sort of logo. But you can still kind of tell what it's trying to be, and so it fits in with the aesthetic. But I like that all these are kind of like a little more outlandish and original designs. Like they really don't look like a car you'd see on the street. They look like something you'd see in 2077, I guess. But it's cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah, except for one, which is going to go against what you just said. Apparently, really? Johnny Silverhand will be driving I don't know what the exact model was. I can't remember, but it's some Porsche that's going to be about 100 years old from that time, 2077. Wow. And so that sounds like that'll be the one vehicle that actually is a certain. That's
kind of cool.
Real life.
Actually, vehicle. Having just like a classic car in there amidst everything else would be pretty dope.
Maybe it can fly. Maybe that's the cheat code vehicle. That'd be awesome. I can't wait for mods on this game. They already said they're not going to have flying cars to drive, and you just know that'll be one of the first mods that come out if someone mods it.
Yeah. I give it a week.
It'll be a flying car with a naked picture on this, like a picture of a person on the side of it. That's going to be the first mod.
Oh yeah. Gosh, yeah. It's always funny for games like that how quickly the modding community like just jumps on it. Especially if it's already on an existing engine. Like it's literally like days later sometimes you start seeing weird shit pop up.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, so that's kind of all I had to say on that. I just kind of wanted to touch on it because I was like, I can't wait for this game. I've talked to my brother so much about it this week, and just saying how as soon as the new consoles come out, I think November 10th for Xbox, November 12th for PlayStation, I'm like, what am I going to play for that week leading up to Cyberpunk? Because once Cyberpunk's out, that's all I'm playing. So that's been a fun conversation, and just like, oh, how are you going to dress? How are you going to, like, what kind of vehicle are you going to go for? And what starter path are you going to go with? Are you going to be a street kid? Or are you going to be a corpo or whatever? I've just been having a fun time talking about that. You're still last week you were saying you're like on the fence whether you wanted to play it or not. I'm excited to have some more content come out that kind of will help tilt you one way or the other and help you actually know for sure.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is I just don't play a lot of like Western RPGs. It's just not like a genre I usually click with. But that said, a lot of the time is because they're either like post-apocalyptic or fantasy, and but this is an aesthetic that works for me a little bit more, and like a tone. But we'll see. It all kind of depends, I guess, on the launch. Like I definitely won't pre-order it, but I could definitely see myself like a few days after launch being like, okay, fine, and buying it and then playing it just for like the sake of conversation. But
right.
And then who knows? Maybe I'll get super into it. It'll take over my life. It's definitely not out of the question. But yeah, no, I definitely like it. It does look really, really cool. It looks like it's gonna push things forward. I do really hope it lives up to its potential. I think like there is sort of a voice in the back of my mind that's saying this could end up similar to No Man's Sky. I don't think it'll be that bad, granted, because this is a dev with a little bit more of a reputation than Hello Games. Like they've done ambitious projects before, but it is just like so ambitious. It's like, we'll see. I don't think it'll flop, but like I think there's a chance it could come out and be just very good, and a lot of people are going to be disappointed.
Right.
Like if it comes out and is like an 8 or 9 out of 10 game, I feel like there's a lot of people who are going to be pissed, just because it's been built up to such an insane degree.
I think I'd be fine if it was an 8 or a 9. Like
I think, but when you look at like the subreddit, these people are already calling it the best game of the year. Like it's
those are probably mostly children.
I think there's I think if it comes out and it's a great game but not like a perfect game, I still think there's going to be backlash, and I don't think that's justified in any way, but I feel like it's going to happen. It's going to be it's interesting though. I'm really excited for the launch of that game. Like, if not just because I'm really curious as to how it'll be received, because I think it will be largely pretty well received, but I don't know. I'm just interested. It's not as much of like
it is
a
interesting.
surefire hit as some other like Doom Eternal. I knew that was gonna get 8 or 9s out of 10s this year.
Right.
Like we know what that's gonna be, but I think for something this ambitious, it's just bound to have a little bit more of like a split opinion on it, and I'm interested to see.
I feel very comfortable saying it'll be an 8 or a 9. Or 8 something, 9 something.
There's no way it'll be below like
But yeah, like the people that are saying this is the best game ever, or this is going to be the best thing, it's like these people must not have been let down yet in their life. So I feel like they must be young, because if they're so confident in something that they don't have yet, like I don't know. Like you gotta have your expectations set properly. I am so excited, and I hope that this thing is awesome. I think it's going to be fantastic, but I am ready to say I am wrong, and that maybe Halo ODST is my favorite game of the year. So I don't know. We'll see. Something that came out.
Actually, another game. Yeah. To segue in, another game I'm excited to see the release of. We talked about this a bit before the show, but Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Right.
I also have no idea how that will be received when the reviews come out. Because it already came out in Japan like a year ago, and it just split right down the middle. People either love it or hate it, and because it is so divisive, like it's taking a really, really popular franchise and like completely doing a 180 on it, like way different combat, way different tone, whole different protagonist. In a franchise that has had the same map for like 20 games, it's on a different map now, and I'm so excited. I think the Yakuza franchise needs variety, like desperately. I think it's really getting stale at this point.
I've never played one.
And I've
never played one before.
Oh, play Yakuza 0. It's like it's fantastic. It lives up to the hype. But I mean, this seems like such a good jumping in point too, because it's like it's everything about it is new, and I think I don't know. I'm also just really interested to see how it's received when it comes out. Okay. Because what's up?
Oh, you had cut out for a second. I was like, oh shoot.
Okay,
I lost
you. Did too. Yeah, no, I'm still here.
No, you did.
But yeah, no, it looks super cool. And I don't know, like it's hard to have a new protagonist in, again, a series that's had Kiryu for so long. Like, I'm interested to see how like fans of the series react, and also how people who aren't that invested in the franchise react. And I'm gonna play it either way. I'm very excited for it. But yeah.
Nice. I think we should just try something right now. I really want you to just throw a number out. What do you think the Metacritic will be? Let's say, I'll write it down here. 2 weeks after Yakuza comes out, and what will the Metacritic be for Cyberpunk 2 weeks after it's out?
Cyberpunk, I think, is going to be...
I already wrote down my answers.
I think Cyberpunk is going to be like high 80s. I think like an 87, 88. And I think that's because most outlets are going to rate it highly, but I think there's going to be like 3 or 4 that give it like a 6 or a 7 because it just really doesn't click.
Right.
And I think that's where that's going to be. And for Yakuza,
so what was your number?
87 is
87?
the number I'm giving.
Okay.
And for Yakuza, I think like just 80, just a strong 80. Because again, I think I think it's going to be pretty split. I think there's going to be a lot of 90s, and I think there's going to be a lot of 60s. Actually maybe like 75 to 80. But I think that one's going to be pretty split down the middle on people who think it's great and people who think it's pretty meh.
Yeah, I wrote down 7.8 is my guess, or 78 for Yakuza, and 92 for Cyberpunk is my guess.
Nice. Yeah. No, those are both
settle.
good guesses too. Yeah, I could definitely see Cyberpunk going into the 90s. I just think like, I mean, granted, The Last of Us 2 also was in the 90s, so it's hard to say. But I think there is going to definitely be a fair bit of outliers in the Cyberpunk conversation, just because it's that big. Like, completely regardless of the quality, there's going to be outlets that are shitting on it just because everybody's praising it.
There's going to be
just kind of how
there's going to be so many people trying it out that there's going to be some people that get offended. It's just bound to happen. And that's why I think it'll be a low 9 instead of. But I don't think it'll hit the 8s. I don't think it'll be in a worse situation than The Last of Us, which had tons of hate.
The hate was mostly like, the hate was different though, because I only saw a couple outlets that weren't super hot on it, and even then they gave it like a 7 or an 8. It was like, it's really good, I just think it could be a lot better.
Right.
It wasn't like that, just the absolute vitriol from like fans around that game.
A lot of people thought it was too long though too, right?
That was like the Metacritic type people, when they like, the people were a little more negative on it, was like pacing issues, and like they thought some character stuff wasn't great, and gave it like a 7 or an 8, so it didn't tip it a ton. But I actually think 92 is better. Can I change my number to 90?
Nope, too bad.
Okay.
90 for Cyberpunk.
I think firm 90 is good.
Alrighty. Well, now I'm going to. I wanted to add in the reminder, but I'll just remember to do that later. I just want to make sure I have like a reminder set on the calendar for 2 weeks after the launch day that we reconvene and check this over. Well, one more thing to talk about today. We got a little bit of time left, sitting around. I don't know. We'll see. We got a bit of time though. Today, I saw an article came out on Kotaku by Stephen Totillo. It was an interview with Phil Spencer, and I just couple things I wanted to take away from that article. You can read it if you're interested in the whole thing. It was kind of a neat read, but nothing like groundbreaking. I just thought it was interesting. The wording that I don't know why I didn't write this down, because I'm just an idiot. But let me see if I can find it here, because I was just looking at. I'm sure it's still up on Twitter everywhere. But the general feeling behind what Phil said was that he has no issue with. It doesn't seem like they're worried about getting their money back from the $7.5 billion they spent on ZeniMax and owning Bethesda and everything else underneath them. It sounded like, because we had talked about how, well, like, should they put the new Bethesda games out on PlayStation? They should do that, and then they can make some extra money because PlayStation sells so many consoles and that kind of thing, right?
I have the quote up here.
Oh, perfect. If you want to go for it. Then.
The question they asked was, is it possible to recoup a $7.5 billion investment if you don't sell Elder Scrolls 6 on the PlayStation? I asked. Yes, Spencer quickly replied. Then he paused. I don't want to be flip about that, he said. The deal was not done to take games away from another player base like that. Knowing the documentation that we put together was, how do we keep other players from playing these games? He goes on for a while. I'm just answering directly the question he had. When I think about where people are going to be playing and the number of devices that we had, and we have xCloud, PC, yada. But he definitely does seem confident, that they can do it without selling on PlayStation.
Yeah, it sounded like he was kind of given the. I'm sure either we both did, or I know I definitely was thinking last week or whenever we brought it up 2 weeks ago. Like, they have phones, they have PCs, they have consoles, they have all those things, and all together, they do not need the PlayStation for it. Yes, it would add some money, but like, they obviously don't need to. So it was nice for me to see him say that, because I don't care either way. But I wasn't thinking that they were going to put on PlayStation 5, but I did think that it was possible that they could still keep it on there. But at the same time, I was like, they're spending so much money. I was thinking they were spending so much money on this thing. Why would you want to spend so much and then be like, we don't want to keep it for just ourselves though. We want to still want everybody to have it on all systems. There's really no point in them even buying the company then at that point.
Yeah. Well, other than the fact that they make a cut of the profits from it, like they get to make a shit ton of money just from selling Bethesda games. But yeah. Like to service their platform, it doesn't really do anything.
But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting little nugget. I guess the other thing worth taking away from it was Steven asked Phil kind of whether they would consider releasing the campaign portion of Halo Infinite on its own without multiplayer, and he basically said that in a roundabout way, yes, they would consider it, but it would have to be a full. He was saying like it would have to be a full package. There'd have to be value there. It would have to be more than just you got a couple story missions and you're done. Like I'm sure he mean what he was saying. He also said it's up to Bonnie Ross, the head for Halo, and she would ultimately have to make that choice. But he did sound like he was open to the idea depending on how things go in the future. And I think that's probably the best way to be thinking of it, right? You can't be just fully going, no, we're in a pandemic. You don't know how everything is going to go. What if your team working on multiplayer is doing great and your campaign team is doing awful or behind or whatever? Not necessarily bad, but just, okay, this isn't going to be ready at the same time. This is going to be an extra half year. Do they want to launch multiplayer because it's going to be free to play and all this stuff? I think that's an interesting, because they were focusing on campaign. Will you launch it on its own? That's also the same as saying, will you launch multiplayer on its own, right? I do think multiplayer could be a full package, and I'd be totally fine with that if they wanted to launch it free to play. You're getting all the multiplayer stuff done, and when you get campaign, you get Forge, or you put Forge with multiplayer. I don't know which one, but maybe you do campaign as having like co-op missions and having like almost its own side like co-op mode, and your campaign, which is still co-op, and that's its own package too. I don't know, but I just thought it was an interesting thing for them to take away from that.
Yeah, it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like I remember Phil Spencer saying the opposite at one point. Like, I feel like I remember, like, months and months ago, someone asked a similar question of, like, would you consider releasing one part without the other easily? He was like, oh, absolutely not. We'd never do that. Which is interesting that that's changed. Or maybe I'm thinking about, I know they considered releasing it in episodes at one point, the campaign.
Oh, really?
And they decided that was a bad idea, which is a smart call. That is a bad idea.
It is a bad idea. I feel like I do know that they did bring it up, or they did talk about it before. I don't remember him saying that they would definitely never do that, but maybe if he did, he was talking about before, like talking about the game launching for the Series X, and now that everything's delayed, maybe it's like changed things. But maybe his comment was more about like, for the launch of Xbox, would you launch just the campaign when the new Xbox launches, kind of thing?
That was actually, I think you might be right. I think it was more like, would you try to just push out half of it so that it can time with the console launch? And I think he's like, no, that's a bad idea, which he has stuck to.
But yeah, that's basically it for today, unless you want to share anything that you wanted to talk about.
One more thing. Minecraft Steve came out in Smash a few days ago. I think 3 days ago.
Yes, he did.
And I downloaded it. I've been playing it. It's so weird. Like out of any DLC character in that game, he is by far just like the most different.
He's complicated and
cool. He's hard. Yeah, I'm not any good with him, but I feel like if you get really good at like planning strategies with it, like really, really setting things up, like having a block, like I've seen some crazy plays of them where people will like place blocks and then have the TNT go and then have people just like and then bounce right off the stage. And it's, if you have that level of forethought and that like on the fly planning, I think you could be just a monster. But it's really interesting. Just it's cool having a character that's so different and unlike anything else in that game.
Yeah, it's crazy seeing him in action. I don't play Smash Bros like at all now, and for me, I just watch tons of the tournaments though. Like I love watching Smash Bros on the side while I play a different game or while I'm doing something. And right when it launched, and I was watching a tournament with basically in my opinion, to me, they're pros, all like learning this character as they play, and it was just fun seeing that some of the crazy shit they would come up with and the stuff they would do. It was amazing. And like, yeah, the crafting part, the mining part, the creating blocks, you're making the TNT, you're edge guarding with the TNT, making the redstone lines going over, and then button press at the right time, and then it was like, what is going on?
It's crazy, yeah. No, it's more than any other character. Yeah, there's just so much planning involved with the strategy. It's like you kind of have to be thinking like 2 steps ahead the whole time of what you're going to do, because he is kind of slow and clunky to like move around, and I think that's intentional. Just because you are supposed to really, really be using his abilities, as opposed to someone like Captain Falcon, where it's just sort of like bouncing through and attacking and being fast and stuff.
Yeah.
But I like him. I think he's a great addition.
I think so too.
I want to keep playing. I want to try to figure him out and get good, because I feel like that'd be a really, really satisfying character to learn. But yeah, we'll see. I'm like you. I don't really play Smash much these days. It's pretty much just when a new character comes out, I'll play it for like a week and then put it down again.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying this.
We should play sometime.
We should. If the like online will actually work.
It won't, but it's still like, I've done it before.
we
it's
can
like
try.
It's good enough to do a couple matches, and then you're like, all right, I'm done. I'm over this.
Yeah,
but that'd be fun.
Yeah.
It's just seeing what people do. It's just so cool, and I think I totally agree with you. Great addition. Nice to see him out. I'm still curious about what the other characters will be. I remember last week you were asking me on the spot, and I was like, I don't know who I'd want to be in there. But there's no way they're adding Waluigi. For the people who want Waluigi, they are not adding Waluigi. Don't even start asking for him. He makes as much sense as adding Daisy.
Daisy's in there.
I know. Yeah. That was the joke. But I was telling a friend of mine, actually, though, because he was like, Waluigi, we got to have Waluigi in there. And I said, you know what? It doesn't make sense, but it would be great if they just added him as an Echo Fighter for Wario. You imagine it? He's just a taller hitbox.
So unhappy.
Taller hitbox. He can ride his motorcycle, get the little helmet on there, doing the farts and everything. Yeah. But they could make him like, jump higher. He's like Luigi version of Mario or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to be in the game. I'm really interested to see what they come up with. How many slots are left? 3 or 4?
There is 4, 1? Yeah, because we're doing 6 fighters on this pass. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like everybody was kind of ready for this next fighter pass to be just kind of boring, because from what we've heard, it was mostly picks from Nintendo instead of picks from Sakurai, which I don't know how accurate all that stuff is. It's one of those things that people like cite a lot, but I don't actually know like where they get it from. But yeah, people were all kind of ready for it to be a little bit more tame. Like, it started with an ARMS character. So people were like, yeah, it's going to be about what we'd expect. Right. But Steven here totally like kind of blew that away. So I'm super excited again, for just like what they'll come up with, what'll be next.
I just want more Zelda characters. That's all I want.
Yeah. Yeah, I would really like some Breath of the Wild reps, like one of the champions or something. Maybe they have Breath of the Wild 2 character planned, and they just like they're starting it now. That's true.
That'd be kind of neat to see.
I could see it.
Wolflink and Midna would be a great one too.
That too. That'd be nice.
Using the hand and stuff like that.
People would be pissed about like a 4th Link, but I feel like that'd be cool.
I don't even know if that counts as a Link at that point though. When he's a wolf and a little imp on his back, the big hand, grab people and whatever, that'd be sweet. All right, it's Ziggy and Nick from the future. We forgot to add this segment in because we're professionals. So we forgot to add our game that we're going to be playing for this week, our game club game, our homework. Ziggy, this week we were talking about giving each other a game instead of both playing one that we both haven't played, because that's becoming quite difficult. At least for games that look interesting to us, because we still want to play something that looks interesting. And so far, Zig and I, we were looking through and we're like, how about this one? No, I've played that, says one of us, and then it goes on. So Ziggy, what do you have for me this week? What am I going to be playing?
All right. This week, we brought it up before because it just got added to Game Pass. It's hot off the press. You're going to be playing Katana Zero,
Oh,
which I really love. That was one of my favorite games of last year. Except, honestly, I don't know if I can say that though, because there's so many good indies last year. But it's really really good. If you
I'm so excited.
it's sort of a it's very similar to Hotline Miami, which you said that you're into, but couldn't actually play. But yeah, no, it's super trippy and fun. I'm excited to see what you think of it. And it's short too. It's only 3 or 4 hours. So honestly, like if you can, I would recommend you blast through it. But yeah.
I was just trying to swap over the screen there again. It does look cool to me. I remember talking about this and being like, this seems neat, but I don't want to buy it. And so now that it's on Game Pass and you suggest it, the best reason for me to play.
Yeah.
Well, you already know what I'm going to say, but
Yeah.
sorry. I'd like to see, I would love to watch you playing something scary. So how about some Resident Evil 7? I would love to see you playing some Resident Evil 7.
Fine, I'll do it.
Will you stream it?
But I'll do it.
Will you commit to streaming it?
Fuck. That's not a bad idea, actually. That might
love
be.
to watch
that's
that.
good content. Yeah. We'll see. I might stream it. Maybe I'll.
Yeah.
I think. Actually, you know what? I mean to stream something in VR. Do they have like PC VR support for Resident Evil 7?
Good question. I don't.
Or is it just PSVR?
I don't know. I didn't look into
Look
it.
that up.
But I wouldn't recommend it. Cause
no, if I'm doing this, I'm going all out. Steam/PC VR.
I'm actually worried about your safety if you are playing it in VR.
Yeah, I think it's just PSVR, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, it's still gonna.
It's probably
still
a good
gonna be
thing
entertaining
for my heart, for the sake of my heart. But yeah, no, I'll try to stream that. That's good content.
Cool. Well, if you do, I'll definitely be checking that out. But,
all right.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll hand it back to our past selves.
Yep. Leaving now from the future. All right. Well, let's finish this up. This has been Screen Peeking, and this has been our podcast that we do every week. You can watch it on iTunes and Spotify and on my Nickelodeon YouTube channel. Ziggy, where can they find you?
You can find me at Ziggy Hickson anywhere. YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. I think I technically have a Twitter. I never use it, but you can follow me there if you want. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm Nickelodeon everywhere on all things. Add me, follow me, like me. This has been Screen Peeking. Thanks for watching or listening. Bye.
Bye-bye.